We do have a caller online about a noise and ordinance question. Go ahead with your call, please. V-Man, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, go ahead with your question, brother.
Why is the noise ordinance not enforced during motorcycle week, but is enforced during spring break?
Ooh, a good one.
That is, man, he's trying to stump you, Rusty.
I know, right?
You know, back after some
No, watch this. You ready? All right, V-Man, so here's the reality of the situation in criminal law, is a lot of it comes down to the discretion of the law enforcement officer who's out there. Now, certainly there are things that bring money to our county and bring money in taxes to us. Spring break is one. I would suggest at this point, Bike Week is a huge moneymaker for us. And you know, I don't know that they're going to pull over all those folks on motorcycles, but I think that they'll certainly go after somebody who's throwing a rowdy party. But at the end of the day, and this is the truth here, it's up to that individual law enforcement officer. They're the ones with more discretion than anyone in the system, more than the prosecutor, more than the judge, because if they don't make a case at the very beginning, there's nothing, right? So that really comes up to the enforcement of that comes down to whether or not the law enforcement officer who is responding to the complaint is actually going to make a case.
Yeah. Well, you know, Rusty, also, one motorcycle riding around is a lot different than 1,000 riding around with the big exhaust pipes. I mean, literally on Sunday morning, we're sitting at church and we can hear them on 231 either coming into town from the red light there or leaving that red light there at East Avenue, you know.
Sure.
And so, V-Man, I hear you loud and clear, brother. It can be very aggravating to hear 1,000 bikes at one time, but at the same point, I mean, at the same time, they're not doing anything wrong. It's there's no ordinance against their bike being that loud, you know.
Sure.
You know, and you know our officers and our leaders here in town that lead those agencies, whether sheriff's office or PCB Beach and the other smaller agencies, they do a good job of discerning what is getting out of hand. Now, let me tell you, if they start throwing wild, crazy parties and all of a sudden things are getting crazy and out of hand, they're going to treat that like a spring break issue.
Well, and you know, you get that crazy party, it could lead to a lot of other things too.
Right.
I mean, why is it a crazy party? If you're a law enforcement officer, you know, they're going to want to see, okay, what's going on there? Is there any kind of illicit activity? Are there any kind of drugs that shouldn't be there? Are people going to be drinking and driving? Are there going to be fights that are breaking out? Why is it loud? Why is it noisy? Those types of things. So, you know, I would say that that's pretty good fodder for a law enforcement officer, one, to kind of figure out and, you know, quiet things down a little bit, is to go and knock on the door of a party like that and say, hey, what's going on here?
Right.
Right?
Opens up other stuff.